How's it going, everybody?
Welcome.
All right. We're just getting started here. We've got pairings. Things are happening. Stuff, you know.
3 more rounds of Legacy coming your way.
Excellent.
12 players tonight.
Okay. So for round 1, we're going to have Wesley and Noah. And then on our backup match, we'll have Terry and Josh.
Hi,
Hooray,
Jorgensen.
Legacy. Hooray. Okay. Who is who? That's the question.
I'll probably get around.
Yeah, we can pan over, watch some people shuffle for a moment.
What'd you do now, Brian?
Sounds like he cast Misdirection. More Misdirection. You're right. All right, let's get our time updated. So this will be... There we go.
Looks like we got some opening hands being drawn here.
So I think this is Noah on our right.
I see a Jace and Force of Wills. Looks like he's going to throw back that hand, though.
I kind of want to double check who's who.
Sure.
I can't tell one person from the next.
How's everyone doing tonight? Brian says Noah is on the right.
I had it right. My guess was going to be correct. I just had to make sure. All right, so we've got Noah over here on the right, and we've got Wesley over here.
Morning. Where are you, Brian?
He's in, are you in Hong Kong or are you in Guam yet? Where do you think you are?
Where do you think you are?
All right, we don't even know what's being played yet. This is fantastic.
Hong Kong, wow. Well, good morning.
Excellent. Wow, he must have been really up early then, because he was a part of my earlier in the day stream.
Wow.
Did you sleep at all, Brian? Okay, we got a Misty Rainforest over here.
Versus a Tarn. Yep. Some more fetches coming down.
You got up at 7 a.m. there? Okay.
It looks like I saw a predict in there, so I think Noah's on some form of miracles.
I never got a live notification. That's the second time that's happened. I'm so upset. All right, Ponder. Seems like a decent idea. It's 10:33 a.m.
Keeps off the Ponder, draws a land off the top there.
So I'm thinking Noah is on miracles.
Yep, I agree. And Bayou coming down on Wesley's side.
I haven't quite seen what Wesley's doing yet.
Okay, so down comes a Walking Ballista. That might be Food Chain?
Is this Food Chain?
That could be Food Chain.
This looks like Food Chain to me. Brian, what other deck goes Bayou into basic island Walking Ballista on 1? Jorgensen, you got up at 7 a.m.? Are you okay?
There's a 7 a.m.?
I wasn't aware that was a time. Minifer, I did that just for you. People rioted, so I had to change my strategy.
Uh-oh.
Had to actually call miracles what it needs to be called.
So here comes the swords on Ballista and shoot you for 1 in response. And that shouldn't be exiled if he shot. That should just be in the graveyard.
Unlikely.
So.
Oh, impotent miracles. I think we called it that one time. We like calling all these decks ridiculous things. I actually am really thinking this is Food Chain. Verdant Catacombs
it looks pretty,
into Baleful
pretty
Strix.
Food Chainy to me.
Brian, there might be another Food Chain player in our store.
So down comes Counterbalance on Noah's side of the board. And I think one of the good things about Food Chain is a lot of the combo pieces aren't really at numbers that the Counterbalance deck has a ton of in there.
I want to say he did ping because there are 3 fetches.
Yep. I think
and he's at 16.
I think he pinged, but I also think he exiled.
I don't know. It's sitting in exile, but I don't think it's actually exiled.
I think it should be in the graveyard.
Brian, are you playing online right now? That affects our MTG bot. And you're 0-2? Goodness gracious. Get a hold of yourself. Well, change the MTG bot then.
All right, so Noah doing typical miracles things, drawing more cards. I see there's an Abrupt Decay, which I think might be being cast on this Counterbalance.
Yeah, I think this is one of the few things that you really do want to hit. There is another Abrupt Decay in hand. I think this is probably going to be saved for a Monastery Mentor.
Sure.
Or another Counterbalance, right? Yep, Manipulate Fate.
Manipulate Fate. So definitely Food Chain. We're going to see what gets grabbed here by Wesley. I'd say probably a couple things that can be cast from exile.
Probably a couple Griffins and an Eternal Scourge.
Yep.
I'm not sure why the Ballista's in exile, but it shouldn't matter. I don't think so anyway.
It probably won't affect the outcome of the game.
I mean, if it was in his graveyard, he could potentially play like a Grimag Angler and use it, so it could be relevant.
It could be relevant, but
he can put his graveyard cards under his exile pile all he wants. I tease.
Some pondering going on Noah's side.
Brian's like, yeah, but none of his cards are foil.
And those islands are an interesting choice.
They are. Jorgensen, weird seeing a superior version of Brian's deck. So
Noah taking a while on this ponder. He sees a Terminus and 2 other cards that I can't see.
Oh yeah, they caught it.
Oh, there we go.
Now if Fox were here, he'd be like, yeah, but Graveyard Order. But Graveyard Order. This is Legacy.
So leaves him on top. Draws. And plays a Search for Azcanta.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely looking for land. He's a couple behind, and he'd really like to hit his land drops.
Sure. So I believe he put that Terminus so that it's not this draw, but the next draw.
Mm-hmm.
Here we see a ponder. I don't know what the top card of Noah's deck is right now, though.
Is it Deathrite, Force of Will? No, Duke 42. It definitely does not stop the combo. Especially if you're swordsing a Griffin, because like think of it this way: it's an instant speed ability to sacrifice something to get the mana.
Oh, down comes Food Chain.
Yep, there's Food Chain.
Let's see if Wesley can go off right here. Oh, here comes a Force of Will.
Yeah, force it. It's necessary.
Definitely.
And we got a Force of Will back. Yep. Oh, pitching another Griffin.
Wow. And I think that Noah doesn't have any more resources on this, so we're going to see Food Chain enter.
He's going to get 3 mana off this Baleful Strix. Use it to cast Scourge. It does not go to your graveyard.
Mach 4 speed. So right now they're talking about whether it should be exiled or graveyard, I believe. So Griffin cast, I correctly get it to exile. Do that 1,000,000 times, is what Wesley's saying. Or however many times. And cast all of my creatures and a Ballista for a lot.
And I don't think there's a second Force of Will, so...
And he says, well, are you dead? Do you have anything? I'm going to ping you, ping you, ping you, ping you, ping you. And that's enough for Noah to scoop it up.
Wow. Look at this.
So Food Chain picks up a quick game 1. Even through a couple of stumbles along the way. But that's all right.
Alright, and on our backup match, we have Josh versus Terry. Looks like a lot of lands are in play, and not a whole lot else.
I see a found Azcanta. That's what it looks like.
At least he's not 0-2 with the deck. Yeah, Brian's super good at Magic. This looks like a 4-color or like an Esper Deathblade.
Yep.
Two.
Green, blue, white, black.
4-color?
4-color.
Most.
That's a scrubland, isn't it? There's definitely an underground.
Yeah, we'll go 4-color blade. Because Esper has like a small splash of green. There are two drops there.
Mm-hmm. Oh, down comes Jace on Josh's side. In for a brainstorm. See, Josh has at least 1 Force of Will in hand. And I think Terry might not have much of a hand. It looks like he's got a card or 2.
3 cards. Stoneforge, Batterskull, and 1 other. And he draws a Deathrite Shaman.
Josh has a Council's Judgment, Force of Will. It looked like a Snapcaster Mage and possibly a land.
Oh my goodness, you know what I didn't realize?
Yeah, Azcanta has been found.
I wasn't there for the finding of it. Alright. We grab sword. Just sort of fire and ice. Probably not going to do a lot here. I imagine Josh has what he needs as far as removal.
It seems Josh is in a fairly good position. We know he does have that search, able to keep things moving.
Yeah, he's got to feel a little bad. He's like, oh, there's Entreat the Angels. Okay, well now he can brainstorm it.
Jace, yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, active Jason play is going to be able to put that on top, and we'll see a pretty large amount of angel tokens able to enter the battlefield.
I think so.
Down comes Snapcaster Mage. And I think he's going to bring... Oh, he's just going to Swords that. Cool. Swords that Death Ray. In for 2. And not... Pass turn? I don't think he passed turn. I don't think he's used his Jace yet, has he?
No, I think he's got some things to think about.
Yeah, so... Jace, Brainstorm.
I'm not sure. I wasn't aware that Noah was playing miracles. we all knew. Yeah, we all knew that Josh would.
Looks like our feature match is just getting through sideboarding, and they'll be drawing their opening hands pretty shortly. In the meantime, Josh looks to be in a pretty commanding position here. For Terry's side of the board, wow, second Jace coming down on Josh's side, bouncing Stoneforge. And on Terry's side, I'm not sure that there's going to be a ton that Terry can do to get back in this. Jace is active. You're staring down possible 4 damage a turn. Not a whole lot going on, and Josh has at least 1 counter, if not 2 counters in hand.
Right.
To handle anything crazy.
All right, we're gonna pan back over to our original feature match here. A Portent came down turn 1. We'll catch up with them a little bit later. Got a Polluted Delta being all fetching.
Get that by you. Pass back to Noah.
And here's a Tundra. Doesn't look like he's going to cast anything. He's just going to pass the turn.
Underground, Sea Down. And yep, Strix coming into play. We see a Ballista in hand for Wesley. And he just drew Food Chain off of that.
Also an Abrupt Decay in hand.
Yep.
Yeah, there really is a lot of diversity in this store. I know that there are a couple people who have the same decks, but they don't always bring the same deck every week, or to every tournament, I should say.
It's nice how many different decks there are.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Counterbalance coming down on Noah's side. We know Wesley does have a Abrupt Decay in hand.
I would expect him to use that pretty soon too. He really doesn't want this affecting the next couple of turns. He could try to slam Food Chain, but I wouldn't recommend it.
Not often do you see people actually tap their fetch land to...
I noticed as well. I was like, oh, he tapped the fetch land. And I guess in all technicality, that's what you should do.
Sure.
But I think most people don't.
Most people tend to shortcut that a little bit. So, passive turn, we'll probably see, I'm assuming, an Abrupt Decay end of turn, and then depending on Wesley's hand and draw, we might see him try to land Food Chain, if Noah taps out or goes low.
Technically correct is the best form of correctness.
You're not wrong, the Duke.
Definitely not. Oh, we got a basic mountain.
Interesting.
So it looks like there will be blood moons out of the board, I would guess.
And if he can find a blood moon, that's going to be a pretty big blow to Wesley here if it resolves. Now, we do know he has abrupt decay, and that would be an abrupt decay on the spot.
It would. But it would make it so counterbalance would
stick around in that case, and definitely make things a little bit harder for Wesley. Blood Moon in general also adding more 3s into the deck for counterbalance, making Food Chain a little bit harder to get cast.
Yeah, definitely. We haven't seen a mentor out of Noah yet, so we're not entirely sure where his win card or where his win cons are, because there are definitely different ways to win with miracles.
Oh, we've seen tons of different ones out of Josh.
And look at this.
Yeah, Blood Moon. And Wesley going okay. Tap mana in response. Blood Moon resolves. And Abrupt Decay.
That's the way to do it. It's almost like we knew.
Noah skillfully decides not to reveal off of counterbalance on the Abrupt Decay.
Kind of surprising that Noah would just slam a Blood Moon, taking himself off of white.
Well, I think the upside is enough that it's worth it.
Okay.
And since you do have blue mana, you're still able to cantrip into a potential white source later. We also don't know if Noah has possibly like a Jason hand. That might be a way to seal the game off pretty quickly from this point. And there we see a Jace on top. Counterbalance, unable to handle that Food Chain. Let's see if there's a Force of Will incoming. I think there's not, because I think you'd pretty much instantly do it here.
Yeah, I don't think there would be a lot of thought over this.
So, Food Chain go.
So I'm not 100% sure, but I'm like, I kind of think that Wesley has a misdirection in hand. Not a card that we get to see too often.
Interesting.
But it'd be fun to see a misdirection. You know, pitch a Griffin.
That would be very interesting.
All right, there is a mentor.
All right, so Jace Brainstorm activation. Wesley taking a good read of Jace's 4 abilities.
You always got to ask your opponent. You're like, are you sure you don't want to bounce? You could bounce if you want.
So, pass back to Wesley, end of turn. Wesley's going to crack that fetch. See what he gets.
Bridge Burner, thank you for the follow.
Basic Island entering on Wesley's side. And he's going to sacrifice exile the owl and grab a Vendilion Click.
Yep, this is definitely interesting.
And
now we know he has Mentor. He could. I think we're about to see a Brainstorm put Mentor on top.
Sure. That makes sense to me.
You definitely don't want the Food Chain combo to continue to go from here. You'd like them to be, completely
force them to have another creature or a way to get creatures. Oh, wow. So we're just going to see click resolve here. Interesting. And he didn't even reveal off of counterbalance. He just kind of let that happen. Very interesting.
So it goes to the bottom. And then Noah will get to draw a card. Noah should know what this card is due to Jace the Mind Sculptor.
Sure.
The only reason I could see him doing this is if he had a Force of Will.
So here comes a Ponder. We see a Misthala Griffin in hand for Wesley. And we do know that he has a Walking Ballista from earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see if he ends up going for it here, whether or not there is a Force of Will on top. Yeah, definitely kind of an interesting line going on here. I'm really wondering what that card that we don't know about is in Noah's hand.
He has to, like, you have to kind of know that you want it, right? You didn't reveal it to counterbalance because you know what
Sure.
it is, right?
Yeah. So in for 3 at Jace. And Noah says, yeah, okay. Jace down.
I'm getting the feeling that this was a misstep.
So down comes another click. Wow.
We need better dice for camera. I agree. We do.
And now we're going to see a Brainstorm. Interesting. So he knew that Brainstorm was the top card of his library, and he figured that Wesley would take the Brainstorm.
Okay.
And just decided to have that be his draw instead.
Yeah, that seems great.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, Hackbert, his life total is 18. For some reason, our blue die disappeared, and this is the only other one that we had. Our blue one is much more clear. Sorry about that. Like, it actually disappeared.
Wow.
Whether somebody stole it or I'm not sure. Or some worker decided that they would use it and not give it back.
Okay, so exile. Griffin comes in. Do that a million times.
I was like, yep, go on.
And Ballista? Is Ballista good?
I'll do it.
Wow. So, some interesting plays off a click there, but Food Chain able to get it done 2-0 pretty quickly.
Yeah, he definitely knew what was going on for the matchup. That is for sure. All right, so let's get back to our other match. It looked like Josh got that
for
that
sure
first game. He looked to be in a pretty good lead there, but I guess we're not entirely sure yet, are we?
Mm-hmm. So we have Deathrite, Leovold, and a Noble Hierarch in play.
A Wasteland was played on Tundra earlier in the game. If I had to guess, it's probably turn 1 or 2.
Here comes a Brainstorm in response to the Leovold.
Exactly, Jorgensen. Wesley's undefeated with Food Chain. Brian, 0-2. Poor kid.
And I see at least a Swords in Josh's hand, so he'll have at least one answer to deal with that Leovold. It's whether or not he gets to draw a card to do it, or whether he's got a counter.
Well, Brian, it's Infect. What do you expect? What else are you going to find in the O2 bracket? Come on now.
Oh, and so we see a counter spell, and then we see a Daze on Terry's side. And that's going to allow that Leovold to resolve. In Terry's hand, I see a Surgical Extraction, and didn't quite get a look at the other cards there. So Josh staring at some pretty dead brainstorms now, and that's a card I'm not very familiar with. What is that? I have no clue.
Do I need to go figure it out? Does anybody know what that
was that? Whoa. What's going on?
From the Ashes?
From the Ashes. That's not a card that I'm used to seeing. Destroy all non-basic lands. For each land destroyed this way, its controller may search his or her library for a basic land card and put it onto the battlefield. Then each player who searched their library this way shuffles it. Wow. Crazy.
Following up with a disenchant on Sylvan Library?
Wow.
Old school. We played it last year. Sure was a one-sided Armageddon. Jeez. I mean, luckily for Terry, a lot of lands went to the graveyard, and Deathrite Shaman can use these. He had a land either off the draw or already in his hand, and he's still able to use up to 3 mana. One of your locals prefers Ruination.
All right, and Terminus off the top to deal with the creatures. Wow, Josh has set this up pretty much ideally.
It's almost like he meant to.
Well, that Terminus should be just raw off the top because they searched their libraries. So, no setup shenanigans there. But
so it looks like we're going to cast. Oh, nothing. Just letting this happen.
All right, so Brainstorm coming in. And Terminus and Swords going to the top of the library. And Surgical coming in.
Yep, this is going to get Terminus. That's typically the card you want to get if you are bringing in surgical extraction in against
definitely
miracles.
And I think Josh is pretty happy that he had that Brainstorm to the top and not in his hand at the time. So he's not out a card. So in hand for Josh, we see Brainstorm, Swords, and I'm assuming that's a search for Azcanta.
Yeah, it is.
And the last card was Red Elemental Blast?
Yeah. It's pretty hard to see Josh losing this one.
Sure. Josh is at 8 though, so if there is something along the lines of another Deathrite Shaman that could be protected from that Swords, then maybe we've got something. Or we do see Batter Skull in hand if there's a some kind of a quick Stoneforge Mystic, which we see Stoneforge in hand, but we don't see the lands to cast it at the moment.
Okay, so Search for Azcanta does get flipped, but we see a Wasteland come and try to take that out immediately. He's going to get 1 activation, and then it'll hit the graveyard. So we found it, but only for a moment. So sad. Well, for Josh anyway.
Yeah, well.
And for all of us.
So, still no white mana for Terry.
Blue, white, little red. Jeez. Nobody's happy with how I say miracles. Back to blue, white control we go. Alright, Counterspell. What are the other 2 cards? Counterbalance.
Counterbalance. Yeah.
Yep.
And that's going to cast right there. And if you're Josh, I think you're pretty happy with where you're sitting right now.
I agree.
There's a Thoughtseize. Terry's going to Thoughtseize. And Josh says, yeah, sure.
Wickelmack, this is our backup bench. Punishing blue-white. Yes, Vervandy, exactly. Whoa. Somebody just hit our camera. I'll have to fix that between rounds.
And here comes a pretty quick entreat. I'd assume this is probably going to end that game in 2 turns? 1 turn. You'll get
3
angels, leaving up red for red elemental eyes.
Portrait of Sanity, thank you for the follow. Yep. And this is lethal.
Yep. Do something. There you go. So match goes to Josh. I believe that was 2-0 as well.
I believe so. So one Miracles player loses in 2, and the other one wins in 2. All right, we'll come back to us for a moment. I'm going to see if I can get this this fixed real quick, which means Mr. Matt here is going to have to talk about some Legacy, I guess.
Oh man.
Oh, here. They're still playing games for fun. You can watch them for a minute.
More food chain action coming your way.
Let's see if I can fix this.
All right. So we've got 1 Miracles win, 1 Miracles loss so far. Pretty quick round. So guys, are there any cards that you're excited about from the new set that just got released that you're interested in trying out, either in Legacy, Modern, or Standard? Let us know.
Is that good? Did I get it? You get it.
Yeah, that's good.
All right. It done been fixed. Or at least hopefully good enough. Looks pretty good.
4 Direfleet Daredevil. Yeah, that's an interesting card. That lets you cast a card from your opponent's graveyard into
yeah.
sorcery.
What deck are you thinking? I've already seen it in they want to try it.
Fit.
They want to try to find it in Sneak Fit. That'd be interesting.
What was the card you were talking about earlier? The exile card.
Oh, Azur's Gate. I've played a bit with here, let me pull it up. It is not on here.
D&T? Interesting.
Yeah, Azur's Gate is seeing play in the Eldrazi Post decks. I got to play with that a little earlier today. If you were looking at the stream. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. Honestly, like I just think that hitting Brainstorm off of that 2-mana first striker seems great.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like the worst it would be, right?
Who knows, Captain Kesey?
I'll let you decide. Honestly, there's no way that Brian's.
I'm not sure that you want to give Brian credit for anything.
No,
so.
It definitely wasn't Brian.
Yeah,
100%. I mean, didn't you see in the MTG bot? It notified us that Brian was 0-2. He was 0-2 with Food Chain, and we just watched Wesley just easy 2-0.
Well, thank you guys for joining us today. It's really great to have all of you here. If you guys are liking what you're seeing, please feel free to give us a follow. And if you guys really like what you're seeing, please feel free to subscribe.
Yeah.
And with your subscription comes access to one wonderful emote at the moment.
Yeah, until we've become a partner.
Mm-hmm.
It's just one. But, another plug, we gotta look at some tokens,
Oh, yeah.
which I'm always excited to do.
There it is, Hackbert. Hackbert found it.
See, Hackbert found it. What is Eldrazi? Sounds neat. Yeah, it is definitely an interesting strategy. Some really, really big creatures, let's put it that way. Okay, let's give you guys a look at the Patreon. Give you guys this link, and you can check it out. So this is our Patreon account. We have custom tokens that we do with Cats and Cantrips as the artist, and we come out with 5 new tokens each month.
Sure.
A lot for Legacy, a lot for Standard, whatever you're into. I'm a personal fan of our Merit Lage.
It's a good one for sure.
So, by becoming a Patreon, a patron, sorry, you can take a look at the different deals and what you can get. The tokens are very high quality. For instance, I've got a, let's see, I've got a fairy rogue right here. That's the back. Yeah, they feel not too different from a Magic card as far as like thickness and.
Yep. Pretty durable.
Yep. They fit in sleeves. They're fantastic. I've been using them a lot.
They've got a nice kind of glossy coat on them.
Mm-hmm. I've been using them for every deck. Every time I play a new deck, I'm like, do we have that token yet? Do we have that token? We're still getting them made. You find a favorite one? Found a Free Hugs Hippo?
Oh yeah, Free Hugs Hippo.
Excellent.
There's even zombie tokens for you, Game for Real.
There are some zombies. Yeah, and then we've also you can see all of them here. She has her own personal Etsy. Many have been made. Many to come. She did the City's Blessing for this recent one.
And the cool thing about the Patreon one is you can actually submit your own token ideas, right?
Yeah, so if you do the $15, then you get 3 of each new token for that month.
Yeah.
3 randoms, and you get to submit an idea. I know a lot of EDH players like that because they need their tokens.
Oh yeah. Everyone needs the tokens.
It's true. But since we're in the Legacy stream, we find that this one's one of the most used. I showed you guys our Merit Lage token, and then our
Elemental,
our Young Pyromancer Elemental.
I love that one too.
It is absolutely in my top 5.
Yep. Spirit tokens for Lingering Souls and a couple other pretty awesome ones.
Where are those ones? I use those quite a bit.
There you go.
I gotta play my next fit. How to be spooky is what it says. All right, we got about 5 more minutes left in the round. There's our zombies.
There you go.
Zombie kitten.
Thinking about brains.
As zombies do.
I like on the tokens, it's a nice touch to have sort of the corners with whatever it is. Like, you know, you've got the Eldrazi spawn with the little Zendikar cubes on there.
The Hedron.
Yeah, Hedrons.
Yeah.
And
our germ token.
Yeah, with the Phyrexian.
It's holding a batter skull. As they do.
Oh, yeah.
All right. And we just saw Josh win with some angel tokens. He really likes the tokens that Cats and Cantrips does, so he's gotten his signed. Holding a sword. Yep, it's holding it holds some swords too. So, sometimes it gets both, you know. Other ones. See, I was excited about the Death Touch Wolf because I like to play Garruk Relentless. I have a one of copy in my next fit deck. And dual wielding germ.
The City's Blessing one looks pretty good too.
Yeah, this is her most recent. We got to sell these during the pre-release. It was a lot of fun. Right. Are the zombies as cool as the ones on the show? I don't know about that. And if Paul's here, we might be able to see a Merit Lage today.
Yeah.
I know that there are Turbo Depths players around. So yeah, this new set has come out, right?
Yep.
We saw some standard bans, but still, I think there wasn't a whole lot for Legacy out of this set.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, we mentioned Azor's Gate in the Eldrazi post decks. It seems to be liking that.
Yep.
But I haven't seen a whole lot else.
Yeah, and there's not going to be a ton from every set that really gets there, and who knows what the sleeper is going to be from this set, if anything. Mm-hmm. It took quite a while for cards. It just takes a while for cards to catch on in general.
Yeah. And a lot of players who play Legacy aren't really interested in trying a lot of new cards, right? Yeah. They have their deck and they're like, okay, this is what it is.
If it works, don't fix it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure we'll see that, but I like that people are messing around with this Dire Fleet.
Sure.
Card, and the fact that Azor's Gate is actually kind of interesting in a deck.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Surge for Azcanta was the one that Legacy players took no time to figure out that card was going to be good.
Sure. Yeah.
Literally the week it came out, people were already playing it in Miracles at our store.
Mm-hmm. But cards like Tireless Tracker, I feel, took
a while.
A little bit to figure out.
It did.
But now you see it quite frequently, actually.
Mm-hmm.
The Gravestone, yeah.
We're talking about Dredge. Oh man, Dredge is a monster. It's like playing a different game. Everybody's playing Magic, but you're playing Dredge.
Yep.
And so you have to learn how to play a different game against somebody else playing a different game, right?
Yeah.
It's fun though. It definitely has some rough beats when it comes to sideboard cards, but deck is very powerful.
Yeah. Yeah, if people are not prepared for Dredge in a room, it's gonna take its toll.
Seems like a lot of EDH stuff in this set. Yeah, Vervendi, I agree. A lot of hedges toward standard, obviously, as they should, right?
Yep.
And then a lot of EDH stuff, and I think I've noticed that with the last 6 or 7 sets, more EDH, more standard than anything else. It's nice. It's nice that we'll still get a couple things here and there for Legacy, but honestly, I like that. It's pretty much like since Treasure Cruise, right?
Sure.
That we really haven't gotten a lot that's changed the format, and they do want to be careful. They don't want to break it again.
Yeah. Well, it's really hard for Wizards to walk that line of playable versus overpowered, and a lot of times they'll either miss that mark on the lower end and it's not good enough to be playable in a format that's as big as Legacy, as diverse as Legacy. Other times they go way over the mark the other way, and man, when there's a broken card, there is a broken card.
Yes. The Duke, I love it. That's pretty much how it is. Yeah, Game for Real. This is Magic is definitely an amazing game. How long would it take you to become a pro? Who knows? It depends. Depends how hard you're pushing for it and how talented you are and how well you understand the game. I, for one, I mean, Matt and I think we both have one pro point.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We don't actively try to get on the pro tour, but we've been playing for over 10 years.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yep.
So who knows? I know other people who have been playing for like 2 years.
Sure.
And here they are, like knocking on the pro tour door. You know.
Yeah.
Vegas. Oh yeah, we're gonna be in Vegas. We are definitely gonna be in Vegas. Or I don't know if Matt will, but I definitely will.
We'll see. Maybe.
You'll be there. Definitely want to play in Vegas.
Vegas is always a blast.
Mm-hmm. See, what I'm excited for is Seattle. Because Seattle's legacy.
Seattle should be fun.
And Seattle, yeah. Oh, Hackbert, you had 2 pro points from Las Vegas? Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, this one has no legacy, I'm aware. You knew pros were full of crap. People can make a living with the game, but most people don't. Most people, it is a hobby.
And I think that's kind of the way it should be.
It should. Yeah.
You should play Magic because you enjoy it, and if you're able to do more with it because of that, good for you. But in general, if you're having fun with it, then it's doing its job. So.
No, it is not a good living.
No.
However, it's a great life. That's all you got to do, Matt. You just got to bring a pithing needle and 2 underground sea, and you can play Bomberman.
Awesome.
In Vegas, like he's not. Isn't Vegas modern? Am I wrong? Is it modern and standard? Somebody let me know.
I would be down for some Bomberman.
Bomberman is sweet. Do it. Yeah, Brian. When we for Seattle. This isn't April.
Okay. Mm-hmm. April might be doable.
It's like actually. I think is it the first weekend of April?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Vegas is modern and limited. Yeah, I will definitely be playing modern. Is it one of those weekends that you can play in both, or is it one of those weekends where they run simultaneously and you kind of have to choose? There's a Bomberman Reddit? Of course there is.
Oh, man.
Of course there is.
There's a Reddit for everything.
There is.
So, guys, I think I heard that they're getting pairings done for the next round, so we should have the next round up pretty soon.
Yeah, speaking of that, I should probably actually make our time visible. Look, it's time.
It is time.
Way to go, Kyre. You nailed it. All right. Terrible consolation prize. How much money do you typically need to get into 1 year of Magic? Entry level Magic. So you'd be playing standard, the format. I'd say to build a deck, it's going to cost you between $100 and $200, and that is a good way to get started.
Yeah, I think that's a fairly good estimate for a deck that's going to be relatively competitive. Maybe not top of the line everything, but as a starting point, that'll get you enough to get your foot in the door.
Yes. And
be competitive and be able to focus on playing as opposed to just kind of floundering around.
Yeah.
All right, and we've got pairings up, so looks like we're going to have Wesley versus Josh. So that's going to be another Food Chain versus Miracles matchup.
That'll be our backup matchup. Mm-hmm. We're going to have Zachary and Calvin on our main match. So let me get that set up for you guys. That's this one. I actually disagree, the Duke.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of cards that cost a decent amount of money in Commander.
It's a good way to play casually to get into it, but if you're actually looking to get on a tournament scene, you should jump right on.
Sure.
You should start playing standard. I mean, if you want an entry point that is casual, then play Commander. But if you want an entry point to get into competitive Magic, then I think Standard. Not sure if that was clear. Draft is different.
I'd say you want to definitely get some matches under your belt before you dive into drafting, but to each their own.
Yeah. Oh, Brian up here said $400 to $500 a year to play Standard. That's probably pretty accurate. Like for your first deck, like if you don't have any cards,
sure,
it's probably going to cost you, about $200 a deck. You could build cheaper.
Yeah.
But as far as keeping up with metas, you're probably going to spend a couple $100 more.
Mm-hmm. Vervandy does make a good point that the deeper you go into formats, if you work your way towards Modern or Legacy, your cards rotate less. So even though you're spending more up front, you might not be spending that much more up front, and you'll get a deck that you'll be able to play a lot longer.
Yep. That's a great point. Vervandy says Legacy burns $125, the version without Lavamancer and fetches.
Yep.
And that deck will probably never go away.
Sure.
Ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
All right, so we got a couple people shuffling up.
We do. So this looks like Calvin.
I agree, Brian. I think Modern is probably the best competitive format to have stuff for, and a lot of Modern decks you can start getting into are great jumping off places for Legacy. So building up things that you're going to need for Legacy, such as fetch lands and the like. Possibly Tarmogoyfs, possibly Eldrazi.
Yep.
Eldrazi are a good point to be starting off from.
That is true. If you want to get onto the Pro Tour, you absolutely need to be able to play draft. You have to be able to draft.
You certainly have to be able to draft, but drafting in and of itself requires a bit more knowledge of how to build a deck, and I think that you need some time actually playing decks before you understand how to build a deck. But
so we see a True Name Nemesis, a Leovold, some other things in Zach's hand. That is true. Eldrazi doesn't have a lot of cards that go into other decks.
True.
Other than Ancient Tomb and City of Traders, for sure. All right, we gotta brainstorm. Things are happening.
I think I see Deathrite. We know Calvin's pretty fond of 4-color and Grixis style decks. Kind of interested to see what he's on today.
So we got a fetch land and a Deathrite Shaman. I'm thinking this is going to be 4-color from Calvin. He's been on 4-color control quite a bit. And I want to say Zach has been on 4-color Blade.
So fetch here from Zach. He's just kind of thinking about what he wants to grab right now. And here we see a Stoneforge.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. There are Eldrazi decks in Legacy and Modern. That's the best way to transfer a kind of deck like that. But you have to really, really enjoy that strategy, right? As far as Legacy goes, I think it's just smart to get your blue lands. Makes it so you can play so many different strategies.
Sort of Fire and Ice grab by Zach there. Probably means he has Barraskull in hand. can't imagine that's one that you pick first. But here comes a him.
Okay.
So him to me means definitely a lot more of a controlling build for Calvin today.
All right, what have we got? Oh, he got the sword. Got the Sword of Fire and Ice, and he also got a Flooded Strand.
All right. Looks like Calvin has another Deathrite in hand, and I think he's going to cast that. Oh, no. Fatal Push on the Stoneforge instead. Makes sense. Possibly fearing a Batter Skull.
This game, I think this game came out in '93, so 25th anniversaries.
Yeah.
25 years.
And we're going to see a Leovold here on Zach's side.
Yeah, that's powerful. I'm sure that Calvin has something as far as drawing cards.
Yep. We see
a Deathrite Shaman, a land, and I'm not sure what the bottom card is, but it looks to be blue.
There comes second Deathrite.
Thanks, Neil. I appreciate that. Yeah, my blue-red list did get published, and it was the first list on the
awesome
on the Legacy decks. So
cool.
that is my second time getting a list published. Yeah, pretty fun. We'll have to see. We'll have to see if my Eldrazi post gets published too. I was able to 5-0 with that one as well.
Right. So, Wasteland. Zach's thinking about playing, and he does. And tapping 3 mana. And incoming True Name. True Name resolves, and then we're going to see a Wasteland activation on Volcanic Island. And now you have to think, Calvin's in a bit of trouble. Even if he's able to deal with Leovold now, True Name's going to provide a pretty quick clock. And having 2 creatures in play means that there's not going to be the ability to have like an edict type effect take care of Zach's side of the board.
What is the toughest deck to beat? In Legacy? Maybe Grixis Delver? Or this 4-color control? Or Check Pile, as a lot of people like to call it. I think those are the top 2 decks, but they're very beatable. Very beatable.
A lot of Legacy comes down to how you play. It's a lot more on can you play your deck well, and it's a lot less about what deck you're playing.
I agree.
There is obviously, top tier and lower tier, but at the end of the day, there's so many different strategies that you can choose.
All right, so there are Leovolds on both sides of the board. This is going to keep both players from brainstorming, from pondering. However, Zach's got a Stoneforge Mystic. This is probably going to make this True Name Nemesis just terrifying. Whether it's a sword, whether it's a Batter Skull,
sure,
it doesn't matter what the equipment here is, even if it's Jitte, and it probably is going to be Jitte. Yep. Umazal's Jitte, that'll be the card.
And cast.
He's going to choose to cast that since there are no cards in Calvin's hand. Answering a Leo with another Leo, exactly. Exactly.
And that's gonna be huge for Zach. Zach was already in a pretty good position. I think this is going to push him over the edge. On Calvin's side, if Calvin has an answer to this board, it's going to be something along the lines of a board wipe. It's got to be something along the lines of like a toxic deluge or something
Right.
like that.
He does have a Deathrite Shaman, which can it's only going to get really one more activation. I'd imagine. I'd imagine
GTA probably goes after that first. Yeah.
It's either he goes for that first, or he attempts to hit twice and take care of the Leovold. I don't know. Activating Jitte may just want to pump.
So Snapcaster on a Ponder.
We see a Thought Seize, a Lightning Bolt, and another Snapcaster Mage.
Now he's not going to be able to get a draw off of the Leovold, right? So this is strictly just to look at the top cards. Right? Yep.
If he just gets to rearrange them the way that he wants. And he doesn't... Oh, because there are both Leos on the board, actually, you can just target down stuff.
Yeah.
You can just target stuff because...
You can just target.
They'll get one draw.
They'll get one draw because it's not their turn.
Yes.
Yeah. But if they do it on their turn, then they won't get any. So you can attack with the equipped True Name.
Yeah.
Wait for their draw step and then go for it.
And then kill the...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, we do know that Calvin saw a bolt. And I believe he put that on top. So he can possibly bolt Zach's Leovold in response to get a card draw for both players. Zach's off a bolt and
Spricken, welcome back. Can you have another timeout? That'll be up to Jorgensen. That's his personal job. So you definitely can.
Everybody gets one.
Only one freebie per person. Oh shoot! Sorry, Spricken. Sorry about that. All right, Batterskull. Yeah, this is looking pretty decisive. Even though Calvin's board state looks quite powerful, True Name plus Jitte is it's gonna be enough.
Wow, so that was interesting. Zach almost went for... He is going to go for an activation on Batterskull instead of equipping that Jitte.
Spricken, we appreciate that. Thanks. What? Hackbert? We don't trust you enough to be a mod? Oh yeah? Is that right? Is that right? Is that what you think? Well, let me prove you wrong, my friend. Here, happy to serve. Captain QC will give you a timeout. All right, so we did see a swing from True Name Nemesis, but surprisingly enough, he chose to put Batterskull into play instead of equip True Name with Jitte.
That was very interesting. Not the line I would have gone for, but it probably is going to play out a little bit better here. Now he's able to just kind of get the Batterskull on True Name and go for broke, right?
Brian Spricken likes to be timed out for short periods of time, so we'll let that be a thing. Because he asked for it. He did ask for it. There can be only one.
All right, so I think Zach's playing pretty conservatively here.
Yeah, I think he could have gone for the win much earlier. JK, I can be good. It's true. You may have power, Hackbert, but I can take it away. Keep that in mind.
So here comes the bolt on Leovold.
Yeah, this is necessary.
And not going to be able to draw, which is what Calvin's pointing out right now. And in response, I think we might see, wow, we're going to see swords on the opposing Leovold, I believe. And so that triggers as well, and I can't... So Calvin is going to be able to draw off of that 1 because it's not his turn. And he'll gain 3 life. And then now Zach is able to draw.
It's true. Hackbert did give us our original Nyx fit list.
And I believe that Leovold should be off the battlefield. But
yeah, I agree, Thomas. There's most of this just isn't even worth trying to make happen, right? Like, yeah, the life total might be high, but this game is going to go to the player with True Name Nemesis.
Sure. Yeah, it's kind of surprising to see Calvin keep playing it out from this point, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. It's not impossible that he can win, but I do think that his window for turning this into a victory is probably closing it. If not now, then maybe one turn away.
Yeah.
And it's like Toxic Deluge or bust.
Yeah.
I don't even know that Calvin mainboard's a Toxic Deluge.
Yeah. If he does, now's the time. But if it is, it's certainly only like a 1 of. So
right. Yeah, K Command would also be good. That is true. However,
K Command still doesn't do it though.
I don't think K Command, it would help. It would help. That is for sure, but I don't think it would change the tides enough to get Calvin the W.
So with K Command, you'd have to do something along the lines of like rebuy a Snapcaster, take care of 1 equipment, and then
K Command another.
K Command another, but as long as he's able to keep 3 mana up to return Batterskull, which he doesn't have this turn, but guaranteed he'll have next turn.
Yeah. It depends if he wants to equip the Batterskull or not, because it is possible that he just pays 5, taps out, pays 5 mana, and equips the True Name Nemesis.
Could be if he goes for that route, but we've seen Zach play fairly conservatively so far. I'd have to imagine that he's going to continue along those lines. Mm-hmm. Zach seems to be kind of staying the course, knowing that his True Name is going to get there eventually.
Yeah.
So if he takes an extra turn, it's not going to really matter.
I actually expect him to equip.
Here comes the equip.
Yeah, no hesitation.
Yeah, and Calvin says, "Yeah, that's good enough."
7 life, 2 counters. I think that'll do.
Yeah.
So Zach gets the win here. They'll shuffle up and prepare for a game 2. On our backup match, they are also shuffling up.
More shuffling.
So we're actually just going to stay here.
Paragon City Games giving you the best shuffle cams on all of Twitch.
Mm-hmm. As we do. Alright, so on our backup match we have Wesley playing that food chain deck.
Paragon City shuffles.
But food chain, I know. Shuffle cam, oh boy.
Just what y'all came to see.
Yep.
Give the people what they want. More shuffle cams.
Every run the shuffling.
I like it, Brian.
So, fun thing about this matchup. These are 2 4-color decks, right? One has white. The other doesn't. I think that's like the biggest difference is
sure.
Is like the white gives you Stoneforge Mystic, and then red is giving you K Command and Lightning Bolt.
Sure.
Relilk, thank you for the follow. And because I feel like red is more of a support color in Calvin's deck, whereas white is like a main color. in Zach's deck. Lots of different options. Obviously, we see Leovolds on both sides of the board. They're going to interact with Ponders and Brainstorms quite a lot. Neither deck wants the other deck to pull ahead.
Definitely.
Yeah, Swords to Plowshares is definitely another one to mention.
Yeah.
Probably the best removal spell in Legacy.
Yep, and we really kind of saw the white going over the top, able to get those equipment in and able to deal a lot more damage there.
Mm-hmm.
But really, the name of the game was True Name.
True Name Nemesis.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It is the card that made all the difference. And you know, no deck plays with True Name Nemesis quite like the ones with Stoneforge. Being able to equip True Name Nemesis with an equipment.
Yeah, anything.
Like
anything.
Any good one, right? Like any good one.
Even a bad equipment would be like you could equip it with what do you think the weakest equipment is that gets
probably giving a death
play.
touch would be pretty bad. Just like an equipment that gives death touch.
Even if you added on like a Basilisk Collar, just giving lifelink and death touch,
it's huge.
Still quite good.
Just giving lifelink would be like, hey, here's my 3/1 lifelink that you can't touch.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's incredible. And then once we put on, hey, we've got Batter Skull, we've got Jitte, and we've got a Sword of Fire and Ice. That's very powerful. Sure. Spoilers, I kept in Decay, huh? Yeah, so that's a great point. Decay can deal with Sword of Fire and Ice and Jitte quite well.
Definitely.
And I fully expect Calvin to be able to decay some equipment. But he still has to deal with Batter Skull. He's going to be looking for a Kulligan's Command to do that. He has a lot of ways to interact with the equipment. He doesn't have a lot of ways to interact with True Name Nemesis. He either has to Force of Will it,
sure,
or Toxic Delusion.
Yep. It would be interesting to see if there's some other type of sideboard card that might be moderately being played on Calvin's side, maybe like a Golgari Charm or something like that.
Okay.
That would give -1/-1, kill it that way. But I think you're right for the most part.
Oh, okay. He flipped a card while screening. Well, of course he kept in Abrupt Decay. Abrupt Decay is just a good card to bring it or keep in. Marsh Casualties, yes. And honestly, I've seen Calvin cast Marsh Casualties plenty of times, so I would expect that one to be in his sideboard coming in.
All right, opening hands being drawn. And it looks like we've got a scry to the bottom on Zach's side.
Yeah, we'll start off with a Polluted Delta. And on the other side, a Deathrite Shaman.
Second fetch land on Calvin's side. Cracks for a Ponder. Fetching up Underground Sea. On Zach's side, I believe I saw a Stoneforge Mystic. Didn't catch much else in hand.
We have 12 players tonight. A lot of people are drafting.
It's also pretty snowy out there right now, so
yes.
I think that's keeping some
the
traffic
away. The traffic is nasty today.
Yeah.
Welcome to Utah. Welcome to Utah.
It's our first snowy day of winter.
Yeah, pretty much.
Super excited.
Yeah. Mr. Ski Instructor over here likes snow. Who would have known?
It's kind of my job.
It's actually your job. Sprickin has something to address. The fact that you're not just addressing it and you're like making it a thing, I'm actually kind of terrified. Go at it, Sprickin. Should I be nervous or should I be excited? Now you need to mentally prepare me. Alright. Ponder's done. We'll pass the turn back to Zach.
We'll see a Wasteland in Zach's hand.
Hovering over ban button. Yeah, dude. Yeah, the Duke, for sure. See, that's what I'm terrified about. Anytime people, like,
Yeah.
People do that. I'm just like, okay, I'm scared. Is it a sad story? I can't deal with the sad story right now.
So Zach thinking it over a little bit. If he does have Stoneforge, he can Wasteland and Stoneforge this turn, and
yeah,
that's kind of appealing.
It is, and I think that's what he's looking at. He's going, okay, let's exile your polluted delta. Ooh,
Oh.
Sylvan Library.
Okay. And we're going to see a brainstorm in response here.
Oh, Spriken?
Spriken?
Do Spriken.
Spriken?
Is it Spriken? Let me know.
Spaken? Spiken? Which one of these is correct?
Okay.
All right, library resolves, and we're going to see a wasteland come in and pass turn back.
Yep. Zach has already off to a great start, and this is with Calvin Spriken. Okay, I got it. Spriken.
Spriken. That's Kyer, I'm Matt.
Okay, brainstorm incoming. So third polluted delta, that's pretty funny. Just find all the same fetches.
Alright. So
you like Bitter Blossoms. Tell them to play Bitter Blossoms. I'll let them know.
We've seen a couple Bitter Blossoms.
We definitely
not today, but
not today, but we have seen Bitter Blossoms a number of times.
So Zach takes a look at the top three of the library, sees a force and a couple lands, and
let's make this easy on Spriken. Kyer is the one with the glasses. Matt is the one with no glasses. or let's do Matt is the one with the hat.
Matt with the hat.
Matt with the hat.
You're a poet and you didn't even realize it.
You guys ruined it. The new guy was gonna think Matt was Kyer. Matt in the hat. Okay.
Alright, so Stoneforge fetches up Sword of Fire and Ice.
Yeah, I think this is the most powerful equipment that he can get in this matchup. Not a lot can compete with a creature that has this on it. Deathrite is one of the only non-blue creatures, maybe aside from like a Gurmag Angler, or I don't even know if he has Gurmag Angler.
And it looks like here comes a Noble Hierarch as well. I think the biggest thing is Fatal Push out of Calvin's side. So Sword is not going to protect from that. But again, that's not going to have an effect regardless of which equipment he grabs, right? So
yes,
none of his swords are going to give protection or a way to deal with that. The only thing that he does have to deal with that is something along the lines of True Name.
Mm-hmm.
He has a bunch of creatures to equip to. So I think you're right, getting the sword is the most value.
It is, and not to mention, there's no red source on Calvin's side of the board. I think he does have a Scalding Tarn though. I just barely saw that.
Here comes Liliana, Last Hope of the Last Hope, and it's going to be a decent thing to add to the board here for Calvin. That's probably going to tick up taking care of a Noble Hierarch, if I had to guess. And that's going to keep Zach tied down to 2 mana, or three off of a Deathrite. But
I think Zach is debating over a Force of Will or a Daze. He has both in hand. I think he's going to Daze this.
Wow.
Oh no, he's going to force it.
Force.
Okay. Why not Daze? I mean, I guess you're turning off your force
Very interesting.
because there's not another blue card in hand. But you have Sylvan Library. Why not Daze? You know, you're gonna draw another blue card.
I think I think the main reason I don't know. I thought I had an answer for you, and I don't. It's kind of an odd choice, in my opinion.
Yeah,
It could be that he was trying to play around a day's back or something like that, but
Calvin's not a deck that runs Daze typically.
yeah, I wouldn't imagine it to be. So, Sword of Fire and Ice equipped and coming in, and that's going to provide some extra cards for Zach. That in library should be pretty big card advantage.
Yeah, so Deathrite attacking as a 4/4 because of Exalted deals 2 extra damage. That's
Sure.
6 damage from a Deathrite Shaman. Yeah, I've never seen Daze from Czech either.
For sure. I was trying to think of reasons to make that play. So here comes Colgan's command. And I think Calvin announced ahead of time because Zach was very quick to pick up that sword. So we're going to see 2 damage to the Stoneforge and destroy the sword. Or maybe not. There we go. And a quick untap and a library activation. And I think even one hit there is still pressuring Calvin's life total quite a bit.
Yeah, he's at 10. He's still able to attack for 1 with Noble Hierarch and hold up Deathrite Shaman. Plenty of damage coming through.
Sure. Ooh, I see a Planeswalker.
You didn't.
I did too. I see a Gideon.
Gideon, ally of Zendikar. So this is going to get cast. It looks like Calvin lets this resolve.
And we're going to see some Knight Ally tokens.
Yeah, and these are our tokens that I showed between rounds. Got our Knight Ally dog.
The Scourge of Standards passed.
I like it, the Duke. I like it.
So Calvin's got a Leovold. Looks like he's going to cast it here. And I couldn't quite see what else was in Calvin's hand. I believe he's got a Snapcaster Mage and a couple other unknown cards. Doesn't look like he's got a ton of interaction at the moment, though. Snapcaster could be good next turn. So, incoming Stoneforge on Zach's side.
Right, Gideon is going to be hard to remove. There are so many creatures in the way right now, and outside of something like Maelstrom Pulse, maybe a Pithing Needle.
Could be.
I think maybe Pithing Needle would be the most likely answer we could see from Calvin.
Alright, so Stoneforge gets GTA. GTA equips to the Knight Ally. Token coming in.
Fearless. Oh, I guess it has the Exalted trigger, so it is attacking for 3. Here's a Snapcaster Mage coming in. He's just going to block. He doesn't want to lose Leovold, so he's just going to throw away a Snapcaster Mage.
Definitely.
Looks like he didn't quite realize that there was an Exalted trigger as well, which is interesting because he got hit by an Exalted creature earlier. A second Knight Ally comes in off of Gideon. I recommend Blue Red Delver. I'm sorry, I'm kind of jumping into the conversation, but I played it the other day. It's an affordable deck. It's powerful and it has a lot of play to it.
Sure.
I recommend it.
All right, Calvin tapping 4 mana, and down comes Jace. So Calvin gonna brainstorm with that Jace. We see Deathrite, Island, Jace, and Unknown in Calvin's hand. Thinking about what to put back. Probably second Jace and land. Looks like he's gonna keep that Jace in hand. And crack fetch. Just to get those cards off the top.
Someone should share the Spooky's budget list legacy spreadsheet. There are some good budget options.
There definitely are. All right, so Leovold coming in for an attack here. Or thinking about it.
I don't
decides not to.
Yeah, I don't think he has a good attack.
I can't see that happening. I think that's a very easy block for Zach.
Oh, he would have just blocked with both creatures.
Yeah,
they're not hard at all. He only loses one. He only loses one creature.
Gladly trade to get that Leovold off the board.
Absolutely.
This way, at least you force the GT to target at least once.
Slivers? Oh, come on.
Counter slivers.
We haven't seen meat hooks in this. Well, geez, for like 6 months we haven't seen meat hooks. It's been a little bit.
Yeah, there are usually decks to loan out in the room.
Jorgensen is absolutely right. The most friendly place to be in the Magic community is is Legacy.
All right, so
it is the best place to be.
Full on attack here. Gideon turning into a creature. We're gonna see Leovold jumping in front of a Knight Ally token, and Deathrite jumping in front of a Stoneforge. I lied, not full out attack. There is Hierarch and a Deathrite hanging out up there at the top. Yep, Calvin is at 7.
Calvin is at 7. Zach is at 17. Sorry if the life totals aren't exactly easy to see.
And he's going to be facing down lethal next turn if he can't find something. And here, even a card like Toxic Deluge isn't going to do it with that Gideon in play.
Nope.
So we need to see multiple spells coming down on Calvin's side this turn in order to stay alive. So starting out with the Toxic Deluge, this is what Calvin needs to see to start out. And we know that the other card in Calvin's hand is a Jace, I believe. But that's only going to buy, I believe, 1 turn for Calvin. Maybe not even a turn if that Gideon swings in.
Yeah, lots of cards being picked up. This is pretty huge.
The biggest thing is that Calvin has some life total issues there. So And looks like they're just gonna scoop that one up. I believe Calvin's saying, "Yeah, all I had was a Jace."
Yeah. All right, Zach is gonna take this one. 4-color blade over 4-color control, aka check pile.
All right.
Let's take a look back at our food chain versus miracles. We kind of got to see Wesley play against miracles last round, but this is
sure
next level miracles. Round 2.
And this looks like it might be the start of game 3, perhaps, or at least early enough on.
Yeah, it looks like Josh is on the play this game. I'm gonna guess there's at least a win for Wesley, but I agree. I would guess that this is a game 3. We've got 7 minutes left. In fact, I'm just gonna change that. I'm gonna bet on it.
So Deathrite in play versus Josh with pretty good mana here. He's got Tundra, Volcanic Island, and Basic Island. Wesley plays Basic Forest. And lands a second Deathrite. And 3 mana is going to play a Scourge. Now, I believe it was a couple weeks ago we saw this matchup, and really creature beatdowns are what got there. Not comboing off, just kind of being patient, playing some creatures, making sure that they deal damage and are hard to deal with cards like Jace.
Yeah.
There's only four Terminus to deal with them, and cards like Manipulate Fate will easily get your creatures back for you.
Right. Now, Josh knowing right when he needs Terminus, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Wesley commits to the board. Josh Terminus, and we've got a counterbalance.
So here comes an Abrupt Decay. Pass turn. Two islands, tap for Predict. Josh correctly predicts the top card of his deck. No surprises there. Wesley finds his 4th mana, and more importantly, that's going to shuffle those creatures back in. So 2 Deathrites are now back into the deck. And the Scourge is a little less important where it goes, but...
yeah, there's a couple more Manipulate Fates too, right?
Yeah. Four mana, here comes a Ballista for 2. Now, 4 mana is also that sweet spot for Ballista where you can start adding counters just manually to it and get in for a bit more damage. And if Wesley doesn't have a lot going on, that might be what he opts to do. Here we see swords coming in, and we're going to see a couple Ballista shots in response. Josh down to 16.
And Eternal Scourge is back. Wow, did he draw it? Or does he have?
I think he had that second one in hand.
He has multiple in the deck. Interesting. I feel like most only run one.
Might have been the draw. Didn't quite see.
Yeah, Spriken. There are many different kinds of Nick Fit. They range from pretty aggressive to rampy to combo. There are many different ways to play with it. You just got to be playing better and Explore and Cabal Therapy. That's pretty much all the term Nick Fit really is.
All right, so Thoughtseize coming in, and we're going to see a Predict in response. predict, pitching, predict off the top. A couple disenchants, Terminus, Council's Judgment, and a red Elemental Blast in hand. And what do you take here? I think you take Council's Judgment. Takes.
I would probably take the Terminus, honestly. Like, well, yeah, Council's Judgment or Terminus. Council's Judgment in my mind is just going to exile a creature that we don't mind being exiled, and there are so many redundant effects that are going to kill Food Chain. You're not going to get away with the Food Chain this game.
Yep.
Seeing that, so getting rid of one isn't exactly amazing. I think Terminus would have been my pick.
I could get behind that. Josh down to 10. And if you do get rid of that Terminus on Josh's side, then you're already down 2 Terminuses out of the deck, so only 2 more to worry about. You keep trying to pick away at life totals a little bit.
Right. Vervandy's going to play Bug Nick Fit this Tuesday for Legacy. Vervandy, I can't wait. I don't know if you're playing here or not, but still, that's awesome. Nick Fit's a blast.
So we see these players playing pretty quickly. We notice there's about a minute 40 in the round or so. Our timer's
it's close.
Pretty close, but it's not entirely accurate. Probably within the minute, though.
The buttons, Paragon City Games is in Draper, Utah. It is not far from Salt Lake City. You may as well just call it Salt Lake City. It's in the same valley.
Same valley.
Yeah.
All right, so see a Brainstorm. It looks like a Griffin in hand.
Got an attack for 3. Josh is down to 7.
And it looks like we're going to see a Griffin enter play. And Josh is going to Snapcaster in response.
Predict, huh?
Just thinking about it.
Not what I would have guessed, but okay. Counterspell. Counterspell on the Griffin.
Interesting, yeah. And of course, Josh holding open one mana for that red elemental blast as well. In for 4. So Josh starting to take the offensive here. Brainstorm. Let's see if that draws a red elemental blast.
I would expect, yeah, I would have expected this. Both players are trying to end this game very quickly.
Sure.
We haven't heard time in the round. I know it said our round timer says time, but I haven't heard the announcement yet.
Wow, 3rd Snapcaster here, and that's going to be pretty big. And
it's that Pyroblast.
Pyroblast and a Swords to Plowshares, which means he is going to attack here for 6, be able to present a decent amount of damage, and he can always target that Scourge, and Wesley won't gain life.
Bryce, don't take all the credit. But yes, it was Bryce. Bryce did fix the time.
Well done, Bryce. All right, I believe I just heard time in the round called, so we are going to be entering turns here.
I'm sure we'll see a die come out onto the table once they enter turns.
Both players are at a pretty low life total. I would expect this game to get completed. Josh dropping down to 3. You're welcome, Spriken.
Yeah, Spriken, no problem. We are happy to have you.
Alright, so Wesley draws and then fetches down to 6.
Yeah, Wesley's board state was very fragile. Even though it did look like he was favored there for a moment, Josh has turned that around very quickly.
Definitely. And we know that Josh has an answer to both creatures in play for Wesley currently.
Mm-hmm.
So it's more than likely that Josh will be able to get in for 4 again, and then it'll really depend on whether Josh can continue to answer those threats and get in for the last points of damage. We might see this one come right down to the wire.
Not sure what he's considering here.
I think here comes a Pyroblast on the bird. I think he was considering whether he wanted to disenchant.
I'm actually kind of surprised he didn't disenchant the bird and Pyroblast the Eternal Scourge.
Sure.
Now, even though Eternal Scourge isn't blue, you can still target it with Pyroblast, and because of Eternal Scourge text, it will go away.
I think we see a Jace, a disenchant, a Council's Judgment. So plenty of answers on Josh's side. I think I kind of like getting Jace into play here. Jace target in for 4. Although definitely could brainstorm. Oh, here comes a force. And having pitched that Pyroblast to deal with the Baleful Strix, sort of coming back to bite Josh there. He still does have a Council's Judgment, which he is going to cast on the Scourge.
So this doesn't target. This is really interesting. I guess it exiles
it still does
anyway.
exile, yeah.
Kind of funny. I vote for Eternal Scourge. What do you vote for? Eternal Scourge.
Down to 1 for Wesley. And land go. So Scourge can be recast. And we know that the last remaining card in Josh's hand was a disenchant, but Scourge only able to block 1 creature, and that will do for Josh. Josh takes that round.
Not sure where the turns were there, but I still think that Josh is getting the win there.
I think Josh had 1 more turn.
Okay.
But
wow, we're gonna get to see plenty of Josh today. We'll see him on our last match. Cool. So our next match should be starting up pretty soon.
Quite an exciting round.
Yeah, that was fantastic. Fantastic magic from all players, really. I was we don't often see the blade decks just like tear people up like we did.
Oh yeah,
this round.
Yeah.
I feel like it's like a slower, grindy match, whereas like, man, Zach just destroyed Check Pile. Not typically a deck you see just
True.
flop.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, somebody brought up earlier that four color loam or aggro loam or whatever you want to call it is a deck that I should be playing on MTGO. So I would you can actually jump in during the days and watch me play some Legacy.
Yeah,
I do play 5 days a week, so and the decks I play vary all the time.
and if you guys are looking for a stream schedule, you can go to ParagonCityGames.com and check under media. You can find out when Kyra is going to go live and what he's going to be playing.
Yeah, we have a good amount of decks. We have a lot of fun.
Hates Control. Blue White Miracles won that match.
Yes, it did. Matt Soul, huh? Well, let me give it a quick look because now you've got me interested. This is under 4 color loam. Sure enough, this is the top one. Yeah, I'll definitely take a look at this particular list.
Interesting.
Yeah, this deck is awesome. This is
Very cool.
so up my alley.
That's a cool deck. Yeah.
I like it a lot. We'll definitely give this a try. Oh man, they got a Cabal Pit.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'll definitely be
Very
trying
cool.
some aggro loam soon enough.
It has a Garrick Relentless.
Yeah. I like me a Garrick Relentless, that's for sure.
And in the Johnny Vengeance.
Wow. Yeah, I'll try this out for sure.
Cool deck.
You felt like you could only flex like 3 cards. That's still fine. A lot can't do too much more than that. Yeah. Yeah, we definitely do have a fantastic chat, Spriken. I agree. That's kind of this is kind of the Legacy community for you, though. I feel like in general, the Legacy community is very, very much. Well, maybe not. I'm not going to say better, but I've noticed a huge difference between standard communities, modern communities, and Legacy communities. And there's a reason I choose to be a part of the Legacy one.
Yeah,
it's just an amazing place to be.
Oh yeah. And what a better format. Like,
Yeah.
There's so much going on. There's so much interaction in the matches. It's really great to see. Like, when you're playing skillfully, it really shows.
It does.
All right. Looks like we're getting our matches set up here. We're going to have Steven versus Josh. Corey versus Zach.
Okay. Let's come back here real quick while I figure out what we want to do here. Welcome back to the booth.
Hi guys.
Hello. All right, let's get things set up. I love it when I don't have to fill in a bunch of dead time. This is fantastic.
We get one last round of Legacy for you guys for tonight. Hopefully it's a good one.
Well, I say we watch Corey, and we've seen a lot of miracles today. Let's watch Corey and Zach. I'm always interested to see what Corey's on. He likes to brew.
Yep.
And he's got some interesting ideas.
I'm excited to see.
Who ended up winning it? Josh did. Unless you guys are talking about something else.
All right.
Does Matt stream? No, he skis. Matt skis.
Yep.
Or are you talking about somebody else?
I ski too much.
You ski an appropriate amount.
Agreed. I was gonna say there is no such thing as skiing too much.
Oh, are you talking about the Agrolum guy?
I think they are.
That's Matt's ult.
Matt Soleil.
That's Soleil. Oh, okay. My bad. See, this is what happens when I jump in mid-conversation. It's just a mess. All right, let's get over to this match.
Okay. Definitely excited for snow right now.
It's literally snowing, right?
Yep.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
And Matt's sitting in here in this podcast studio where we can't hear a lot, and hear Matt's like inside. He's like, but there's snow.
Sorry,
I get it. There's legacy magic, but there's snow.
I'll be up first thing tomorrow.
That's awesome. Matt Soleil is hosting us right now. That is awesome. I really need to get to know the legacy streamers better.
Definitely.
Such we had, oh my goodness, the name just left, but we played against Clashed today, and he was playing this awesome loam dragon strategy.
Oh, cool.
With it had lingering souls, but it had Haven of the Spirit Dragon or whatever, or not. Oh, maybe that's what the card is called. But he had Dramoka and Ojutai and whatever. Wow. Yeah, Chase Hansen. Thank you. You guys are the best. Thank you so much.
All right, decks are being shuffled and cut. Get some die rolls going in here.
Yeah, he lost to me, and honestly, he should not have lost to me. I did not draw I drew like a piece of crap, and for some reason was still able to get there. It was weird. I even had people, I'm like, go tell him he should have won. I'm sorry. Yeah, he's such a good brewer. Man, his decks are so fun. I would really like to meet a person like that in person. That would be a lot of fun to talk to him.
All right. Well, I see some kind of Sultai-ish cards on Corey's side.
Okay.
I see a Hymn to Torok, some lands, and on Zach's side, I saw a Gideon in hand. Didn't catch much else. Looks like a Force of Will of Days. Noble Hierarch getting played by Zach.
Oh, Stryfo, that's the name. Dang it.
Mm.
I knew the name. Just left, and there it is. Okay, Stryfo. Sorry, that's who I was talking about. All right, True Name Nemesis on turn 2.
Wow.
This is fast.
It's going to be forced.
Yes.
And we're going to see possibly a force back here, or a daze. Can't daze.
No, you don't want to daze. I think you want to force and get rid of your daze.
You have to force back.
I think he should. I think he should.
One,
I think he should.
I think I would force back here. Wow. So he is going to daze. And
wow, really?
That's
kind of gutsy.
That's really weird with that fetch land just sitting in play. And now he's thinking I don't know. So
I hear Corey laughing. He's like, but I have land, and Zach's like, I think I'd rather force. Hold on.
Yeah. So force. Force.
I'd kind of like to hear the dialogue between these players going. I'm not really sure. That was a little odd, but it seems like Corey was just good about it. And
sure.
Was just like, no problem. Don't worry about it.
Well, yeah.
All right. What is Corey on? What is Corey on? Some kind of Grixis, yeah.
I thought I saw a Bayou in hand.
And this has got to be check pile. Another 4-color control versus 4-color Deathblade.
And we saw how good True Name was last time.
Yeah.
We'll see if it does the same shenanigans here.
Yeah, see, this is exactly why I would want to pick the fight, right? Is like let's try to get this true name into play. If it resolves, then you have a true name. If it doesn't, then the next turn, if you have a white source, then you can just slam Gideon ally of Zendikar.
Right, Bryce. I'm gonna daze. I didn't say the
Footland back
Force.
into play. Force it. You're gonna force it.
I'm gonna force it.
There is a hint of Torok though, and if he chooses,
And, yeah, I mean, 2 cards in hand. I think now's the time if you're gonna do it. So
yep.
That
Bye
will,
bye Gideon.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That will definitely stop that Gideon from coming down. So, Zach, no hand, but 4 damage a turn coming into play here.
That's a lot of damage.
I like how Corey's exile zone is right in front of that noble hierarch.
You like to keep your exile zone right in play.
Yeah.
That way everybody knows what's exiled.
That way, when I have my cheaty face, I can just move it over.
Oh, just move it over real quick.
Yeah.
People are like, I caught you, and you're like, then
No,
why is it in play?
It's in play. The trick is cheaty face never leaves play.
Yep. You were hoping for a reprint, weren't you?
Definitely. Definitely. Although I did get a normal armchair instead. Just an ordinary armchair.
It's just ordinary.
Yeah.
Entirely.
Yeah.
Entirely ordinary.
Entirely ordinary. There's nothing to pay no mind to that armchair.
No.
So Brainstorm coming in on Zach's side, and he's looking at a Wasteland, I believe a Sylvan Library, and another card I didn't see.
Sylvan Library seems like a card that you might want right now. Yes. Yeah, facing down a Kulligan's Command, deal with this. Enchantments just I feel like they're not quite as respected as they could be. Maybe they don't need to be nearly as respected, but man, every time I see a Sylvan Library come down, it's like abrupt decay or bust,
Sure.
Like what else do you have for it?
And I think that's probably one of the best draws that Zach could have had.
Agreed.
Off of that Brainstorm.
He's got life to work with. There's no Leovold to shut it down.
Sure.
He's going to see a lot of cards, and I think that not only the fact that oh, they do have Leovold for it. Did I miss that? I do not see a Leovold.
I see a Kulligan's Command.
Yeah, the gold card is a Kulligan's Command. I do not see a Leovold.
In the matchup in general, there's Leovold for it, but yeah.
Oh, making a general statement.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry about that, Minifer. Yeah, definitely. He'll have it in the deck. You're right. Yeah, definitely in his deck somewhere, but not a card that he has at his disposal at the moment. Yeah, there are plenty of answers. You're right.
On this board, though, Library is going to do a lot of work. And Corey's already down to 9 life. So we're looking at a 3-turn clock from this true name. Soon to be less than that. This will turn it into a 2-turn clock. Wasteland coming in, taking down an Underground Sea, cutting Corey down to 1 blue a turn.
Force of Will is the draw for Corey. Something gives me a feeling that Force of Will is not going to help him out with his true name problem.
Sure. And now we're looking at a pretty similar situation to where we saw last round, where it's pretty much deluge or bust, if he's even running one in the main. 2 true names in play, Noble Hierarch to deal with any edict type effect, and really only a 2-turn clock here.
Just out of nowhere. I love Merfolk Tribal. Dude, Merfolk Tribal's great.
Well, true names are Merfolk.
Play it. You can play it in 3 formats right now. Actually, I think Merfolk is a deck in Vintage too, isn't it?
Is it?
I don't know. I think it has been. I don't know about now.
All right, incoming Kolgan's command, dealing with that Noble Hierarch, and you discard. And Zach thinking about the days here.
If you do daze it for...
So
I don't think it does too much.
days it force a Deathrite activation, but really no point. There are other lands in the graveyard.
There are.
I see a third True Name.
Yeah.
But not the land to cast it unless he wants to pay some extra life here. Zach says, no, I'll just leave it on top, and I've got one in reserve in case anything happens.
Look at that, I was right. Jorgensen confirmed it.
There you go.
All right. 4-color Blade's going to take down another one. So we keep seeing these situations where Blade is able to get in a couple True Name Nemesis or just a couple creatures, right? And like very quickly, the 4-color control deck is like, oh, I need Deluge.
Yeah. Well, and turn two is very hard to deal with without, and we saw that through a Force of Will there. Corey had the Force for the True Name, but Zach had a Force of his own to kind of force it through.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well played by Zach. I think besides the weird hiccup with the days thing.
Sure. Yeah.
But no, it was great. Well played game.
Yeah.
Merfolk in 5 formats because of draft. Oh, come on, Jorgensen. Once you open up draft, then we have to look at all the draft formats that have had Merfolk, and then we're talking like a bunch. Let's not do that. Let's just stick with constructed, shall we? They talked about it on so many insane plays, huh? Merfolk is a cool strategy.
Yeah.
It's every time I see it in Modern or Legacy, I see it just like crushing through top 8s. Like I swear, it's not often that it hits top 8, but when it does, I feel like I just watch it win.
There was definitely a time where Merfolk was the deck in Legacy.
Yes.
Like you'd see him play a couple of Merfolk and you'd go, wow, okay, well that's going to be a quick match.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and you'd get to play cards like Back to Basics and stuff like that.
Yep.
And yeah.
All right, let's see if anything's going on in our backup match here.
Ooh.
Let's change this. We've got
Steven.
So this is our I guess official finals that we're looking at here.
And we're seeing a Swords, I believe.
This is Grixis Delver. Yeah, Portrait of Insanity, I agree. True Name Nemesis is a card that went from very hard to deal with to not too bad.
So we see a Stifle. Or no, that's a Daze, isn't it? That is a Daze. Okay.
It is a Daze.
Gotcha. Daze in response and Gurmag in play.
There was a Spell Pierce and then a Daze.
Gotcha. That new Daze art always gets me. I always think it's Stifle.
Yeah. Yep. Well, all these reprints. Got to keep track of all the art.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, quick shuffle on the other side, and it looks like we're drawing opening hands.
So we'll leave this match here. Didn't get to catch up on it too much, but that's fine. We'll get to see these guys start up. Underground Sea into Deathrite Shaman.
Now, how big of a deal is it play versus draw for this 4-color Blade deck?
Sorry, say again?
How big of a deal is it being on the play versus on the draw?
Honestly, I think in general, it's you just want to be on the play. These are both value decks. I think I don't think it's too big of a difference, especially where you can start off with a Deathrite Shaman like this. We saw Zach play against Calvin, and even though Calvin went first, Zach had the turn 1 Deathrite.
Sure. And
was just able to be way ahead.
Okay.
It probably matters more about these first 3 turns than it does the actual player draw. In the long game, it's very possible that having an extra card could win you the whole game.
So we see a couple of Wastelands in hand for Zach. 2 Deathrites in play. And a Daze and a Force as well in hand.
We have a Wasteland. Siggy, hey, how's it going? Saying hi from Indy. That's awesome. Welcome, welcome.
Hi, Siggy.
So it looks like he's gonna exile Wasteland at the end step. Not looking to use the mana, just looking to keep Zach off of too much mana on these
sure.
Deathrites.
I think that's pretty smart. That's going to keep Zach off of a Leovold this turn.
It does. And Corey doesn't even want to crack his fetches.
No.
He realizes that Zach doesn't have another land.
Yeah, and there's really no need. Like, Corey's under no threat of dying anytime soon. And as long as he can just kind of keep these Deathrites at bay, he's got quite a while before he has to actually crack those fetches.
Yes. You kind of have to feel confident with your late game to be able to do this, just to make it so they don't get to do what they want to do for a couple turns, right?
Sure.
Corey knows that Zach is going to find a land eventually.
Yep. But these are kind of like time walk-ish turns here. We're going to see Stoneforge come into play.
Yep, so there's an activation trying to get rid of an Underground Sea. Corey's going to interact with that.
Mm-hmm.
Zach has to use his other Deathrite Shaman just to get 1 mana. Got to do what you got to do, I guess.
Sure. And worth noting, Corey will be able to take away that last remaining land in the graveyard on his turn, and possibly get some value out of it and keep that Stoneforge from activating as long as there's no extra land there from Zach.
Now, I see a Golgari Charm sitting at the top of Corey's hand, and he's got to be like, why is Deathrite? Why is Deathrite? Why does it have two toughness? This is so obnoxious. Oh, there's the Toxic Deluge as well.
Wow.
I don't think he needs to fire that off yet, and we do know that Zach has access to a Force of Will. He's strongly considering cracking fetches. He's
very, very much thinking about it. Looks like he's going to here.
Yeah, it looks that way. He's cracking all 3. And Zach is saying no response to any of them. You can shortcut it.
Gets all the different kinds of mana that he could possibly hope for.
Zach's like, I want to see the foil.
And I wonder if we'll see. I think I saw a Jace in Corey's hand. Is he going to try for a Jace here? 3 mana Deluge. So, says, this is good enough. You're stuck on 1 land. I want to get those 2 Deathrites off the board.
I agree. I agree with this thought. Now Zach probably, considering he has such a mana problem going on right now, I expect him to interact with this. He's probably figuring out what he wants to pitch to Force of Will.
Yeah. Day's not an option. That Deathrite is active, so unless we see another fake Daze into Force of Will.
And from the looks of it, I don't think Corey can interact with this force.
Interesting.
So
pitching Brainstorm's really interesting here. I would have expected something along the lines of pitching a Leovold.
yes.
I would have thought that Brainstorm would be where Zach wants to get his value from, but I guess he's considering just playing the Leovold now.
A Daze. I see a Daze from Zach. That's going to be pretty crucial when Jace tries to come down this next turn too.
Sure. Worth noting that Deathrite on Corey's side keeps Zach down to 2 mana still.
Yes. It sure does.
I believe Zach's sitting on a 3rd Deathrite in hand as well.
No real reason to cast it here, especially after seeing the Deluge. Like one more land and he'd be able to snap caster it back. So he's just gonna leave the Deathrite Shamans up. He's going to
Sure.
probably try to get in this sort of Fire and Ice. I imagine that's the thing that he's gonna try to do.
So in comes a Baleful Strix and a Ponder. Zach says, yeah, sure, go for it. And the top 3 cards, it looks like a land, an Edict, and something else.
I'm gonna take the Badlands.
We're going to see an end of turn activation on one of the fetch lands. Corey says, yeah, sure. And here comes that sword into play.
Yeah, Corey does not have a good way to interact with this, and
Zach draws Tundra, and that's big here.
that's huge. We've got an equip. Any responses? The player with 2 Jace, a Pyroblast, and a Golgari Charm's like, yep, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's gonna have to be fine.
Gonna happen.
And we've got an attack for 3.
And
Deathrite's gonna hit the bin here.
Yeah, I think if you're Corey, you should probably block with your Deathrite. That way you're saving a card and 2 extra damage.
Agreed.
Because that's going to kill your Deathrite anyway if it connects. So
Yep. And he's
you're
gonna
at least, yeah.
activate getting rid of a land.
Do you go after a land here, or do you go after a spell?
I think I'm not sure. It looks like he's gone after Flooded Strand.
Fair enough.
Maybe. I didn't see anything go to exile there, did you?
I did not. So with no real way to protect this Jace, I believe it's pretty much stranded in Corey's hand unless he wants to pay 4 mana for a Brainstorm.
I think he does. I don't see any real reason to like, he's got 2 in hand. You may as well play 1, try to find something that's going to get rid of this. You got to find action somehow. If you pay 4 mana for it,
Sure.
you got to, it's another, you got to do what you got to do type thing. Definitely not looking good. Zach's got to look at this upcoming play, and he's just gonna be like, okay, like,
Sure.
you're gonna bring it.
There's
All
a
right.
Jace. Yeah, we think so as well, Vervandy. All right, Brainstorm sees Strix, fetch lands, and
He's a Snapcaster?
might be.
No, he's-
So Jace gets put back on top. And Corey passes.
And Corey's just holding up Pyroblast. Nothing else going on. Yeah, they just realized the Flooded Strand. I figured they would realize before it came up. good on him.
So if you're Zach here, I think you just have to attack into. Interesting. So
Yeah.
here he's going to attack the 2 Death Rights, it looks like, at Jace. And the Stoneforge at face. That's going to allow the Stoneforge to trigger that sword. The remaining 2 damage can go to Jace and finish it off.
This is a slightly greedy attack by Zach, but it's going to end up being very rewarding. He's getting Jace off the board. He's losing a Death Right, but he's also drawing a card. I think all in all, he got all the value he needed out of this.
Sure.
And he has a land. All right.
Wow.
Yep, Zach's finally getting some mana, and it's gonna.
And I think Zach's probably gonna opt to play a Leovold here, and he has Daze backup for when Corey goes to Pyroblast it. So Zach just coming up with all the answers here. And interesting, he just lets that happen pretty quickly.
That is very surprising. Does he have a force of will that he wants to get rid of with the Daze or something? I mean, I think. Oh, I think he has another Leovold. Is that what it is?
Yeah, it could be that he has another Leovold.
If you have another Leovold, then why pick a fight over the first one?
For sure.
I guess the only reason you would pick the fight is because your Daze isn't going to have any other value.
Right. If he has both Leovold and Force, something like that might be possible. All right.
Nature's Claim.
Nature's Claim on the sword.
So Zach's going to go back to 20 life.
So that would be an argument for dazing there. If you had Leovold in play, it kind of stops this sort of stuff from happening.
It does. Now we're looking at a much more even board state. This was probably one of Corey's best draws to get back into this game.
Sure. And another Strix in hand for Corey as well, being able to really start to lock up the board and start getting in some attacks, perhaps. We do know that Zach has that second Leovold.
I would imagine that gets cast here. I think we're going to see an attack from Stoneforge Mystic. Don't really think there's any reason to hold back. Okay.
All right. Leovold comes in, and I think Zach's just kind of thinking, well, I still have a Deathrite in play, and I can certainly start exiling a bunch of these spells and get my opponent down. Make them answer a Leovold, and hopefully I'll draw some more gas along the way.
This has got to be frustrating from Corey's perspective. We know he has a Jace, and he's just looking at things going, okay, like,
yeah,
you know, now if I plus, you draw.
Yeah.
If I zero, I don't do anything. Yeah. It actually hurts you.
Yeah.
And then if you bounce, like that's like your only good option, right?
And
give
even
you an
then
extra
they
card.
draw. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, here comes Jace. And yep, Corey just thinking, well,
yeah, he's gonna bounce Leovold just so that he can brainstorm. Here's the draw from Zach.
Leovold back to hand. And
there's a Fluster. Is that a Flusterstorm draw? Man, I might counter this brainstorm if I'm.
Wow.
If I'm Zach, I might Flusterstorm this. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that was his draw. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to see a Deathrite activation in response. And Here comes that fluster.
So we're gonna exile a land, get a blue, Fluster Storm.
Wow.
Yeah, that is
That's rough.
that's brutal.
You know, Corey's trying everything in his control to get those draws to work for him, and it's just not panning out. Zach's had all the answers.
Hackbird, I'm not sure what everybody was on today, but our feature match area has had about 3 to 4 decks. Pretty interesting.
Yep.
We've only seen about half the players though.
There's usually at least one lands player in the room as well.
Yeah. We are working out a plan to get some different faces on camera more, regardless of wins. So we'll probably get to see a little more of the meta once we implement that a little better. I'm not sure if Paul's here tonight. I didn't see him, but he's usually here, so I'm not sure. He hasn't been on camera.
Ooh, so Zach gets a true name.
This is very surprising to me.
So that's gonna allow Jace to be active for at least a turn.
Man, I would have cast Leovold again.
Yeah. And we know that there is a relic. There we go.
Interesting.
Relic coming in. Possibly popping relic?
He's thinking.
I can't really imagine this being correct. Relic, if you do pop it, is going to turn off your death right. While you do have pressure on the board, like death right is going to be a consistent source of either damage or life or mana on your side.
This actually played into Corey's hands perfectly. He now gets to activate Jace.
Yeah.
He now has something good enough to Golgari Charm.
Sure.
And he drew a Ponder for the turn.
Yeah.
Like if Leovold had come down, Jace would have had to minus again. And then just to Ponder. You actually think it's close, Captain QC?
It's certainly close, but I think True Name's just a little bit weaker here. I can certainly see from Zach's side, he's saying, well, I'll give him one turn and then I'll get it off the board.
Yeah, that's obviously what he's trying to do, right? Like, let's get Jace off the board and then let's get the Leo back down. I'm not going to say his line's bad. It only looks bad because Golgari Charm's there, right?
All right, here comes
Thoughtseize is going to take Leo. Oh, man. And Corey wants a game 3.
Yeah. And Corey, seeing that Daze, is now going to be able to play around it a lot more effectively.
Yep. Yeah, the card number 3 was the Thoughtseize. So now we've got 2 mana being tapped. This looks...
Here comes Golgari Charm.
So this is going to get rid of True Name Nemesis, and it's also going to get rid of Baleful Strix.
Yeah. Wow. And this is just huge.
Oh, sorry.
It's just going to get rid
Zach's
of
hand. Yeah, sorry. I thought you were singing Corey's hand.
Here comes Ponder. And it looks like Corey's looking at a Leovold of his own there.
Oh, how the tides have turned. Wow, what a comeback. Zach's like, yeah, but I'm going to make you exile a card from your graveyard with this relic.
Exile a card.
Okay, so I imagine Jace is gonna hit the bin this turn. Yeah, both creatures attacking Jace.
Jace has done its job though here.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to see another Stoneforge is the draw for Zach. He's going to fetch up. Brings Batterskull to the front. I think that's what you go for here. I can't imagine you getting GTA against a blank board like this, especially when you're not really concerned about too many creatures on Corey's side.
Stoneforge was an amazing draw.
Definitely. And with the Stoneforge already in play, if he had kept that up, he would have been able to put the Batterskull into play this turn. But getting Jace off the board, I think, is probably worth that weight of a turn.
I'm definitely a little surprised why Deathrite Shaman didn't come into play here. I don't even know if I'd be activating Relic right now.
Ooh, Snapcaster in Corey's hand.
Not gonna do a whole lot with the Relic. It's gonna get him to crack it, right?
It might be able to deal with that Batterskull though. No, it won't. So here comes activation. Batterskull coming into play. And Corey's starting to fall just a hint behind again. If he has an answer for this Batterskull, then things are looking pretty good. But if not,
man, he was clawing his way back in, and then Zach, like the turn where it looks like Corey's gonna take the game back to his side. Zach's like, yeah, top deck Stoneforge, go get Batterskull. It's like, oh, this is brutal. All right, Deathrite's gonna take care of something.
Sure. And I think Corey's thinking about possibly Snapcastering to play around that Deathrite. He chooses not to.
Maybe Hackbert. Yeah, I'm not sure. There's not like a huge reason to play it. He is quite far ahead here. Corey just has what, a Diabolic Edict in hand and a Snapcaster and the Snapcaster is not going to do anything more than likely. I think it's worth it for Zach to crack Relic if this gets cast.
Yeah, and it's not going to get much better than that, I think. Wait and see what he targets here first. But with two ways to deal with it, you've got your active Deathrite and you've got your Relic.
Yep. So he was looking to Nature's Claim, it looked like, and Zach's just gonna blow the Relic there.
Leovold at least stopping Relic from drawing a card. Edict coming in takes care of one of those.
Shouldn't he have drawn a card? It's the
Leovold stop.
I thought it was except for the first card each turn.
You're correct. It should have drawn a card off of that because it is currently Corey's turn, not Zach's.
Don't think it's gonna matter. We've got a Gideon.
Maybe it is Zach's turn.
Oh, is it? Oh, it was Zach's turn.
It is Zach's turn.
Interesting. For some reason, I thought it was Corey's as well.
All right, Brainstorm off the top.
It's a pretty good top deck, and now we do see a Kolaghan's Command,
and that will be able to deal with the Batterskull, but there's now a Gideon in play as well, which is going to be another hard one to get through. And Corey thinking hard about how this is going to work. Zach's deck really giving Corey fits.
All right, here's the Kolaghan's Command. I imagine 2 damage is going to go somewhere, and the other mode is going to kill Batterskull.
We might see just a rebuy on Snapcaster. And
there's not much to get, though.
There is an Edict.
There is.
And there's also going to be a Colgan's Command. So that might be the play, or you might see just 2 damage.
You're right. Colgan's Command's probably good enough. We're going to daze this. This is going to obviously just pay for the daze.
Sure. Snapcaster going to hand. And with Corey at 8 life, though, I think we're going to see Gideon plus and get in there.
Yeah, not too afraid of the lone Bayou there.
Certainly not knowing that Snapcaster is the remaining card in Corey's hand. So this forces a jump. Two cards remaining in Zach's hand. He's got that Deathrite and 1 unknown.
Yeah, I don't think Zach needs anything more than this board state to win this game.
No. And we're at a life total where 1 single card is not going to cut it because of that Gideon.
Nope.
And things are looking pretty bleak for Corey here. Still does have that Snapcaster. But
not sure how much it's doing though.
Active Deathrite's going to be a problem, right? Like Corey's at 5 life. If he goes to play Snapcaster, whatever it targets, the Deathrite will handle.
Yes.
For Corey, if he draws like a Toxic Deluge or something like that, he still has to deal with the Gideon. So he could possibly Deluge. Looks like he's got another Leovold, and I don't think that that's enough to barely keep him alive for 1 more turn. Not if he activates.
Yeah, not with the Deathrite Shaman activation.
So Deathrite activates, and that should be lethal. We know he's got 2 blockers, but Deathrite coming in for 2 damage should finish things off.
Yep. I think it's just another
plus. Doing the math right now, double checking. Yep, activates, swings with those 3, and we'll get some exact damage here. And Corey extends the hand.
Man, Zach has had some incredible matches today.
Wow. Gideon.
Gideon. Gideon. All right, we'll see if there's any more Magic to be played. There is not. Our backup match is done.
All right.
So that'll do it for Friday FNM.
Wow.
These are some great matches.
Stoneblade pulling its weight.
Seriously, it looked great today.
Yeah.
Hey guys, thank you so much for joining us today. Want to shout out to Paragon City Games. They've been awesome. Letting us come in.
Oh yeah.
Do this with tournaments. It is so much fun, and we get to share this with you guys. Just to let you guys know, as far as schedule goes, we only do this twice a week as far as Legacy paper live Magic.
Yep. And
that'll be at 7 Mountain Time on Tuesdays, and then 7:30 Mountain Time on Fridays. And then if you're interested in more Legacy content on the same channel, I will be here 5 days a week. That's Monday through Friday, doing all sorts of Legacy content. I like to just run through leagues with all sorts of different decks. So if that's interesting to you, give us a follow. That way you can know when we go live.
Great.
So shout out to Paragon, man. They've been great.
Thanks for the follow.
All right, guys. Hail Heroes.
Hail Heroes.